Okay, what we are going to be making here today in Red Ass Kitchen front shoulder roast. You need the shoulder, you need some onions, you need some celery, you need some garlic, you need some potatoes, you need some carrots, you need a little bit of white wine, you need some stock of some sort. This, just some good old chicken stock will do, wild game stock if you have it. And then we'll add a dash of tomato paste too. Thyme and a bay leaf. You want 2 quarts at least. Okay, now this, just like any of these braised meats, it's all basically the same. I mean, but this we're gonna be making more of a meal out of it with like some potatoes and stuff like that. So you either want the shoulder blade or this piece here. Either of those 2 sections above the shank will work. And you don't have to cut it in 2. I just like to cut it in 2 to expose the bone marrow. So I made some ossobuco the day before. This is what I have left from that, the stock. So we're gonna use this. First things first, get your chicken stock rolling. And we're gonna get that warming up. Preheat that bad breezy. Also, get your oven ripping. 300 degrees. If you're feeling a bit randy, go a little bit lower and let it go for longer. That's what I like to do, but we're gonna do this one legit. 300 degrees like everyone else does. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. We'll get your pan preheating too. Get that sucker ripping. Add a dash of oil. I actually have bacon grease here that I'm gonna reuse. Got some bacon grease ripping. Okay. Now that that's rolling, let's go with some salt and pepper. This is patted dry already. Let's give her another little pat dry here. We're gonna salt and pepper liberally. This is gonna be basically all the salt and pepper we're using for this, so you can get pretty heavy with the salt. You can always, I guess, some it's probably worth being on the underside when it comes to salt and pepper. No matter what you're cooking, you're better off with a little less salt than a little too much salt, because you can always add salt after the fact. Now, let's get some Land O'Lakes in this bad breezy. Now also, some butter. Not necessary, but if you ever cooked in a cast iron pan, like just grilled roasts, like hind quarter roasts, backstrap, whatever, in a cast iron pan, fuck does butter add to that flavor. I love finishing with butter. Like I generally start with oil, just a little bit of oil in the pan, and I'll sear one side, I'll flip it, and then I just add a couple slices of butter to the top, let it melt over while that other side's cooking, pull it off. That little bit of butter, to me, it does so much. I love that flavor. That's what I do. But anyway, this we're gonna use beforehand for the sear. Not necessary, but if you got it, do it. Get this butter going. We'll let that melt down a little bit, and then we'll add the meat. Okay, good enough. That pan's hot enough. Butter's melted enough to sear. Okay, the pan's not quite hot enough. Too late. It's in there. It's going. We are searing. Oh yeah, that is perfection. Yes. But so we seared up the meat. We chucked the onions and the celery into the pan then. But now our onions are getting a really good color to them. They're starting to get, kind of brown on the edges. They're not translucent yet. They're starting to get a little brown on the edges. So, time for the garlic. We'll add that garlic. We'll let that let that give her the berries for a while. Once that garlic gets a little bit of color onto it, we will deglaze the pan, which just adding the onion and kind of mixing the onion around will deglaze the pan pretty good. It'll get rid of any of those stuck bits. But anything that's left over after that, give a little splash of something liquid, scrape that shit off. Oh my gosh, these onions are fucking perfect. I'm gonna add a dash of tomato paste. You don't have to do this, I'm just, whatever. Half of a tablespoon, just a little dash. Oh, wild, alright. And now the onions are cooked. Garlic's in there. And just add like half a cup of wine. The cup's in there, which I can't really get it right now because of my impromptu counter. Bam. Half a cup of wine. Meat. Pan. Is it pan or Pam? I think I can help the whole pan situation. It's pan. Stock. Pan. Okay, still a little bit light on the stock, which kind of sucks. So we got everything into the pan now. We just got to bring it up to a boil. Once we bring it up to a boil, we know everything's hot. And then we can biff into the oven, and then our cooking process begins. Oregano. It's not oregano, it's frickin' thyme, you idiot. But yeah, thyme. And then also chuck a bay leaf in there. Biff a little thyme in there, biff a little bay leaf. I want a whole bay leaf, not a chunk of a bay leaf. I want a whole one. Oh. Yeesh. That one's the whole bay tree. Get it? Fucking hilarious. Good enough. Bay leaf, waboosh. Would you look at that? This damn oven's a piece of shit. Okay, we brought everything up to a boil. Now we're gonna biff it in the oven. And we're gonna forget about it. Forget about it for 3 hours, I'd say. At about that 3 hour mark, check it. And you might need to go a little bit longer. All you're looking for is that it's fairly fork tender. You want it to be just starting to be tender, and then you could biff in your veggies, because your veggies are gonna have to go for another like half hour probably, maybe even another hour, depending on how many potatoes you chuck in there, how much it cools everything down, and then has to bring it all back up to like cooking temp and then cook. You know, it might only need to cook for another 20 minutes, but generally I'd say you're looking at a half hour at least, maybe even a little bit more. And then you're just gonna, once you chuck your veggies in, you're just gonna go until your veggies are soft, your meat's tender. Once you get there, pull it out and serve it. Put some carrots. We'll give the rabbit a carrot while we're at it. Nala, come. Come here. Okay. Carrots in there. And I actually wanted this to be ready closer to 7. It's 5:15 right now, so I'm going to turn that heat down a little bit. That way I can let it go for a little bit longer. I put it in for another couple hours once I put the veggies in. That might have been a little bit long. I don't know. The potatoes are pretty soft. They're kind of falling apart. But this meat is frickin' perfect. It's fall off the bone. That is just perfect. That's perfect. That is frickin' perfect.